Hi, I'm Dr. Trina Boice. Welcome back to my channel. Be sure and subscribe if you haven't already, as well as like, comment below, ring the bell. You'll be notified whenever I upload new videos. You know the drill. I'm a best-selling author of 30 books and an author coach. And today I am bringing you a very special guest who has a lot to teach us. I'm going to give you the big spiel, and then Victor, you can finally say hi. So Victor Vento works with high growth coaches, consultants, speakers, and authors, and they work with him to scale through Facebook ads and chatbots. That's his expertise. And he does this through a 4-phase complete automation strategy. Automation is so important so that you can scale to 6 or 7 figures. Anyway, he teaches people how to create a well-lubricated system to attract, engage, elevate, and convert new and existing clients so that you can scale. Okay, how was that intro? Victor, welcome.
Hey, Trina, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. So, I mean, like, as you mentioned, most people, so not everyone talks about like 6 figures. Not once you get there, it's for some reason, there's this like idea of like, oh, if I can get to 6 figures, if you think about it, 6 figures is only 8K a month. Like, and you're 6 figures, right? You know, and then the next goal is people are like, oh, I want 10K a month. And then like, it's only 2K more. So it's not that much. And they consistently bring that in. And then once you start to scale to like 20, 30, 40K a month, what ends up happening is most people are actually totally fine right there. Like that, like mid 6-figure range, that is very comfortable for a lot of people, that they're able to make a lot of impact that way. They're not necessarily looking to get to those 7 figures, be those millionaires, and that's totally fine. You don't have to be. Not everyone is going to be happy there. There's a different level of play up there. So that's just kind of like to kind of touch on what you were talking about. But yeah, I appreciate the intro. I'm excited to teach everyone today about how to start getting that there and to make that decision on their own.
Yeah, so your expertise, as I mentioned, is in paid traffic. First, give us a quick definition for traffic for those that are unfamiliar with online lingo.
Sure. Okay, so paid traffic, essentially think about it this way. If people can get attention in various ways. There's organic, so let's put this in the terms of you walking the town that you live in, walking up to strangers and saying like, hey, I'm Victor, nice to meet you. And that's organic. You're meeting one person at a time, you're slowly building your audience, and people start to know you and whatnot. They might not like you or trust you yet because they just met you organically. However, with paid traffic, it's as if you were brought onto a stage in front of a room of 300 people, and they're saying like, hey, you guys got to meet Victor. And then Victor, I walk up on stage and I'm like, hey guys, nice to meet you. And like, that's paid traffic, right? Because it's a more targeted audience. You get to talk to those exact people that want to hear what you're saying, and you're not playing like the shotgun approach, walking up to everyone in town and like hoping that 1 or 2 of those people are actually the people that want to hear what you have to say.
Right, now let's extend that further, and I want you to share your cookie analogy. So you walk up to somebody and you say,
so I love using this. So a lot of people think of paid traffic this way, and because it works in other platforms like Google, right? When we search Google for something, I'm like, hey, I need a plumber, or hey, I'm looking for a gym or something like that. An ad pops up and says like, do you want a gym? Do you want to buy this thing? Do you want to like whatever it is that you're looking for? Because you're looking for it. When you go on platforms like Facebook and Instagram, we're not showing up to purchase something, right? So it would be like you walking up to somebody and on the street and saying like, hey, do you want to put your hand in this box? And that person doesn't know you, and they're going to say, no, I don't know you. That's kind of weird. They'll walk away.
Or pass.
Right, exactly. However, if you were to walk up to somebody on the street and say like, hey, I have a bunch of Girl Scout cookies in here. Do you want one? Someone might be like, sure, what's the catch? So they're curious now, they're engaged with you, you've attracted them and they're engaging with you, right? So those essentially in a nutshell are first 2 phases. There's obviously more to that, but you get the analogy, right? they start engaging with you, and then you're like, sure, awesome. Put your hand in this box, grab which one you want. It's absolutely free. And hey, by the way, do you want some milk to go with that, or a coffee or anything like that? Like, oh yeah, sure, that actually sounds good. Great. We're having a special here at this coffee shop. If you want, like, just pop on in, let them know that I sent you, and they'll give you a coupon for like a half off coffee or a half off like glass of chocolate milk or something like that. Now you've elevated that person, and it makes sense. You offered the milk to their cookie. They don't need it, but it makes that experience that much better. So that's essentially, in a nutshell, what we help do online for you, so that you can attract the right people, talk with them, start a conversation, and then move them through and elevate them to working with you as it makes sense, as it's seen as the next logical step to do that.
Right. Now, the online equivalent of that free cookie is what we call a lead magnet.
Right.
And I teach all my authors, you got to think of one, pick one, tell us what it is and how you use it in ads.
Right. So for example, when it comes to lead magnets, most people get this wrong because we're all experts. You know something very well, this subject matter, right? That's why you're an author. That's why you're a speaker, because you tend to be an expert in that specific thing that you do. However, when it comes to helping somebody, you normally have to actually have a conversation with them. But when you can't, and you have to give them a piece of the puzzle that allows them to make progress on their own, we often overwhelm people. If you're anything like me, you've actually been in this position before where I'm like, yeah, okay, let's do Facebook ads. So first you got to do is set up your pixel, and then you got to make sure that your account is set up correctly so that you can have this campaign. You got to retarget people. Now, a lot of people already just glazed over. They're like, what the hell is he talking about? What's a pixel?
Right.
And they start talking about other things.
Yeah.
So I just overwhelmed you. A lot of people offer lead magnets or create lead magnets that lead with that type of knowledge. It's helpful if you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, it's overwhelming. It's just infobesity, right? You're going to be able to consume it, but you're not going to take action. And then that action that you don't take, you associate with me, and then you don't actually move forward with me or engage with me anymore. So instead, break off a piece of that. And what's the simplest thing they can get started? This is what a pixel is and how to get started with it. For example, if you have trouble creating lead magnets, one of the things that we have is a lead magnet worksheet to create the perfect client magnet.
Nice.
It's really simple. It'll take you about 10 to 15 minutes to actually do. And when it's done, when you give it to somebody, they're able to consume it in about 3 to 5 minutes. And then they can take action on themselves in about 10 to 15 minutes. So that is a good lead magnet because it allows someone to not just understand it, comprehend it, but it then moves them into, I can actually take action here. I can get momentum here. And that's all without you. So just imagine what that looks like when I actually engage with you and work with you or do something with you on a paid type of relationship. If this is the free stuff, what does the paid stuff look like, right? If I can get results with free, why wouldn't you want to move forward and elevate that person into, this is what this paid version looks like. You get even more support, you move even faster, and you get even more results. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah. And so I teach my authors, you've got to be very clear who your target audience is, and then ask yourself, what is it they want or need, or what problem are they experiencing, or what pain point are they experiencing? And then you present a solution to them. And that lead magnet gives them a piece of that puzzle that you were just talking about,
right, exactly.
Which is perfect. So yeah. So I love that you've got a handout. And before I forget, that's part of your free gift for the viewers who are watching, right? Tell us really quickly. Well, take your time. You don't have to be.
No, absolutely. So, like you mentioned, I guess before we continue, if you want, it's a bundle, really. It's one of 3 worksheets that I'm giving to you because these work in tandem very well together. This first worksheet, if you go to ventobot.com/bundle, it's a free 3 worksheets that you get. The first worksheet is the perfect client magnet, right? It allows you to create that in about 10 to 15 minutes, and you can pop these out because you don't just need one, you need a suite of lead magnets, if I may. And the next one, right, exactly. So the next worksheet that's in there is like a content mapping worksheet. Most people and I guess this kind of leads into the next thing is most people have trouble online to provide the content. They're like, well, content is hard. I don't even know what to say, what to write. Here's the easiest way to think about it. And this worksheet actually helps you map that whole thing out. Most people run into specific obstacles when they're working with you, whether they work with you on a free level or they on a paid level, on a more like higher level, whatever that looks like. There are going to be obstacles that all of your clients and customers run into along the way. They're very similar every time because you have a specific way of taking people through things to get them a result. So they always run into 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 obstacles. Those main obstacles, think of that as your milestones, right? Those are the milestones they need to overcome to move forward. And if they can't overcome it, then they can't move forward. So what your content does is your content focuses on solving and helping them overcome those milestones so that you have 3 to 5 milestones that you talk about all the time. You don't have to create new content. You create the same thing over and over. You just talk about it in a different way. And what ends up happening is those people, for example, this is where people have the aha moment. Aha is literally just like an is the understanding. Oh, I get it. The ha is the like is like the like trigger, the little switch that they got. They're like, oh, that's how that works. So the is like, okay, yes, I'm understanding what we need to do. You understand you need to create this content, these milestones. The ha is how you do it, which is essentially what I told you, the obstacles that people run into. So if you talk about those main milestones all the time, you have endless amounts of content. It will seem boring to you, to everyone else listening. It's new to them. They don't understand these milestones. They don't know how to overcome them without you. So show them how to help them by actually helping them overcome them.
So that translates really well for nonfiction authors who are teaching something. But what kind of a lead magnet would you suggest for a fiction author who is simply telling a story or providing an escape through a romantic novel or something like that? So, because they're not solving a problem per se, although I beg to differ.
They are, yeah. I get what you're saying.
But what would you recommend for fiction authors and their lead magnets?
Sure. So as far as fiction goes, and this is relatable to anything really, you're always solving a problem, right? Whether you're fiction, nonfiction, what ends up happening with fiction though is the problem might be different than what you think. I actually am good friends with someone in town who's a very successful author, and she writes a series of romance novels. And one of the things we've talked about in the past is she provides one of the first books in the series for free. It's just a simple download, and it's like a shorter intro book that leads into, because the story continues and there's like different parts of it and everything like that. Like I don't read them, so I don't really understand like the minutia of it, but that in a nutshell, that's what it is, right? You give the first series, that person's like, oh, awesome. So they start reading the story. The problem you're solving is what they actually want. Why do they want the story in the first place, right? Are they looking to not necessarily escape, but to sit down and with the coffee and like on their couch on an early morning and like have some time to themselves that they can just take off into another world? That's what you're solving for that person. So that first book in the series is your lead magnet, right? It allows them to start to get to know you. You get them accustomed to reading your stories. And then obviously the next story is like, great, guess what? The milk becomes, would you like to have the next 2 or 3 sets of this series as a bundle for you at a discount? This bonus offer is only available for like, let's say 3 days after you downloaded the first one. And they may actually take you up on it. Majority, about 85% of people won't, but the 15% that do, that immediately they're like, yes, they keep going. You allow them to move forward. The other 85%, then you start to show them, you can start to create that content that drips out. Here's what happens in the next one. Here's what happens in the one after that. And here's what happens here. Like find out what happens. And it creates this curiosity now that person is like, well, I want to keep reading. So I'm going to get the next book and then the next book and the next one.
It's like the Costco approach or your cookie analogy,
Yeah.
taste me, try me. And another free lead magnet that I recommend to my authors is an audiobook. And
That's a good example.
Audible will actually pay you a $75 bounty if you bring a new customer to the Audible platform with your
Hmm.
free book. That's pretty awesome. But anyway, okay, so I want to ask you, how do you compare Instagram ads and Facebook ads? Is there a different strategy, or would you say both work the same? Like, in other words, would you need to create a separate ad for Facebook and then a separate one for Instagram, or could you use the same ad? This is a long-winded question. Can you use the same ad on both platforms with equal successful results?
Sure. So yes and no. You can use the same ad for both. You can still get the same results. However, here's what's really happening, and media and marketing hasn't changed at all. The platforms have changed. No one really watches TV anymore. I mean, like, we have subscriptions, we have Netflix, we have Hulu, we have like YouTube TV now. Like, it's Apple TV. It's all this stuff now. We just changed how we consume that media. Facebook is the new like TV show platform, and Instagram is essentially the new magazine. We don't, at least in my opinion, if you're anything like me, you don't read magazines anymore. You read articles online. You tend to have like digital books or something like that. So Instagram is the new magazine, because if you think about it, what are magazines simply? Like a bunch of images and like popping up of different stories that way. And then you have every now and then like an article that's mixed in with some type of ad in there. And that's all. That's, if you understand that, you can bring ads to that platform with that in mind, knowing how people consume that content. With Facebook, it's the new TV show, right? So it's a new TV platform. So essentially, people are watching shows all the time. They're tuning in live to watch. Like, it's not pay-per-view anymore, but it's just you're tuning in live to watch that person perform, or that show, that funny thing, that cooking channel, like whatever that is. And if you understand that, you can bring ads from that perspective, and that allows you to really engage with people and attract them in a way that makes sense for that platform. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so would you say that image ads are more successful on Instagram and video ads are more successful on Facebook then?
They can be, and no. So I'm still, so 4 years ago, images did the best on Facebook. They still do really well, often beating videos, because what's happening now is there's a lot of videos. So there's so many videos that you have, if you're not capturing in a video the attention within the first couple of seconds, that person is gone. Whereas an image stops the scroll, and that's essentially what we want from an ad. So that's you. I mean, like, they work better on Instagram, yes, but they still work really well on Facebook. We work with Facebook and Instagram. However, these can be, this principle, this strategy can be taken to any platform. I just don't know how those platforms necessarily work on the ad side of things, the paid traffic side of things. Like YouTube, there's a lot of other things that you need to take note of. Google, same thing. LinkedIn, same thing. Pinterest, etc. I just know how to do it in Facebook and Instagram, but I've seen colleagues of mine take these same principles, bring them to other platforms, and they've had the same success, if not like pretty much the same success, if not more. So, and again, it's knowing your audience. But yeah, these four phases, I've talked about them earlier. The first phase is attract, second is engage, third is elevate, and fourth is convert. So we specifically put them in that order because there's things that we will do in there to get you the best success for how to attract the right people, for how to engage those people that are ideal, how to elevate those people through different programs and services so that when they're ready, they actually convert into the most, not necessarily the most profitable. I mean, it's profitable for you, but it's also the most relevant to them to help them solve the best problem that they need solved.
Okay, I noticed on your website it says don't kill the messenger.
Yeah.
Tell me what you mean by that.
So I have a podcast myself that I interview others on.
That's right. I'm going to be a guest on your show, I think, next week.
Yeah, I believe so. It's sometime in May. I have to look at it, but it's I did interview you for it. And it, in a nutshell, what that means, like it was a play on words, because it's on Mondays we have interviews, but on Wednesdays and Fridays, generally, it's more me talking about certain topics. And this may sound harsh, but I talk a lot of truth about what people do and what people are doing wrong and how to fix it. So not everyone wants to hear it, and that's okay, but oftentimes it's what they need to hear. So for example, I've mentioned this before a couple of times, where a lot of people, when they say Facebook ads don't work for me. That is complete bull in my, like, I believe truly that Facebook ads work for anyone. And the reason they don't work for people is because you're taking the approach of the other platforms of like selling. People are looking to buy at other platforms. People are not looking to buy your thing on Facebook and Instagram. They're looking to interact, so socialize. It's kind of like that laid back networking event where people go and they have a cocktail. That's what Facebook is. If you walk into that networking group and you're like, hey, do you want to, I help people build websites. Do you want to work with me? Like, that's it. You'd immediately get shunned from that group. People would start be like, I don't want to talk to that person. That's why it doesn't work on Facebook. That's why people, and like I say things like that, and it's some people don't want to hear it because they're like, well, you're wrong because I tried it and it didn't work. And that's okay. Like, I can't change their mind, but I want to open their eyes to what it is that's actually happening and how to be successful on that platform.
And really, your expertise is in storytelling. So tell us, how would you translate a friendly social story ad on Facebook for an author, for example?
Sure. So I've been doing it all along. If you've been paying attention to behind the scenes of what's really happening on our conversation here, how did I explain lead magnets? I explained the cookie analogy, like offering the cookie and the milk. I say that all the time because people understand it. They're like, oh, right, I like cookies, and like milk makes that experience better. Like, I get it. Who doesn't like to dip an Oreo in milk? You know, like, so I do that all the time. And we just take that same thing and approach when we write ads for our clients, or how we teach people to write ads as well. Which, by the way, before I forget, that's one of the worksheets in the actual bundle as well. That is, we have a Facebook ads checklist of how to write engaging posts.
Nice.
Posts that you can use this on our organic posts too, but we use it specifically for paid ads. When we write those ads, how we write them, the structure is in that worksheet, so you can write it up and just copy paste it into the ad platform. But you can use this I use this all the time for organic posts as well. And it creates engagement. People start interacting because it's a formula that we follow. And the story part of it is really your mastery of taking your life experience and bringing it into how it relates to that person and their journey where they're at right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So tell us something that's not working in Facebook ads, and how, or maybe a mistake that people a trap that they fall into when they think that they're creating a great ad, and how to fix it. In addition to the storytelling, can you think of another common mistake people make?
Yeah. I mean, it can work. It doesn't work very often. When you simply create an ad that's kind of like a horse for sale, you know, it's straight up like that's probably the easiest way for me to explain it. You know, you put an ad out that says horse for sale. You want it? You know, like most people start that way when they run ads, and then they say ads don't work for them, or Facebook ads don't work for them.
Yeah.
So like if I were to put an ad to people that don't know me that says, hey, do you want me to run your marketing campaigns? They don't know me. I don't know what you can get. I don't know what results you have. I don't know you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're going to say, no, I don't want that. However, if I put an ad that says, that starts with a question, for example, targeting my ideal client, and says, feeling like you can't scale past the 50K mark, 50K a month mark, you know, like, they're going to be like, well, yeah, you've tried running, and then I tell a story. You've tried running ads before. They seem to not work. They seem to work for everyone else and your competitors. And what ends up happening is that you end up spending all this money and investing into Facebook philanthropy as opposed to actually getting the results and scaling past the 7-figure mark like you're wanting to, and be able to create that impact on the world. What's the problem? The good news is that they do work, and there's a simple formula to follow. If you want it, I have this download that allows you to actually understand this formula. Here's an ads checklist that allows you to do that. Now I've started a conversation. I've presented the cookie, and if they want it, they'll take it. And then at the back end of that, I offer them some milk. And if they want it, they'll take it, you know, but they don't have to.
So what success rate would you consider to be average or successful? What are the click-through rates and the conversion rates that we should expect when we're placing Facebook ads or Instagram ads?
Sure. So those numbers do depend on your numbers, but here are like industry averages. Opt-ins, people opting into your thing to download whatever it is you have, or your lead magnet, is you generally 30% is the industry standard, which is very low. When I hear that, what I think is that's 70% of people that are saying no to your thing. So 30% is great if you can make the numbers work. 70% of people say no. Why? On average, we help people get to 50 to 60% to say yes to that initial piece, that cookie. And then on the back end, you want somewhere between like a 10% is an industry standard about conversion into some type of sale or something, a program or service, or a low end something. We obviously help bump that up as well. However, those are kind of the industry standards. 30% on the opt-in, about like 10% is what you aim for on the sales conversion side of things. On the behind that, when you offer the milk. As far as ad to click-through rate, I shoot for anywhere between 60 and 70%. But I think industry standard again is more like 20%. So you can see those numbers drop off very, very quickly. So 100 people, 20 of those say yes to the ad. They click through. 30% of those 20 say yes to downloading the thing, and then 10% of those, that 30%, actually buy the next step, which that's why people are like, well, it doesn't work, because they don't know how to optimize it and really create it for create an engaging story that helps them elevate through their process.
Right. Okay. So here's another question people ask all the time. How much is it going to cost me to run Facebook ads?
True. I get that question a lot. Not so much anymore, but I do hear that still a lot. People are saying like, well, they're expensive, or how much is it going to cost me? And this is why people in times of hardship turn off their ads like that, because it's non-essential marketing for them. Whereas paid traffic should be the most essential piece of your business to bring in new people. Now, the reason I don't like this question, I both like it and I have a love-hate relationship with it. So I believe that question is the wrong question to ask. Instead, the question that you could be asking is, how much can I invest in ads? And the reason people think, how much does it cost me, is because they see it as a loss.
Right.
Just imagine, and I wrote this on a post the other day, actually. Just imagine that if you were able to get, let's say you have some like coaching program or something that's like $2K on the back end, right? and your initial working with somebody is about $500. Let's say that you can get 3 people on the phone with you in a week, and out of those 3 people, one person will buy a $500 service, program, or product, whatever it is, with you. Would you invest $50 per call to get one of those 3 people to pay you $500? So you essentially spend $150, and then one of those 3 people move forward with you, elevate to the next step, and they give you $500. So you've essentially just made, what is that, $350 with that. And this is why people, they're like, you have to shift the mindset here, right? How much can I invest in it? If that's your goal, if you can get that $50 a call, 3 calls equals 1 sale at $500. Now just imagine that every 10 of those $500, so you've got 30 people to come in, every 10 of those $500, one of those people elevate to the next step into that $2,000 program. So you've essentially paid $1,050 to get $7K on the back end. So like that's like a 7-to-1 return. And now the reality is not how much does it cost me. Well, now everyone's thinking like, well, how many times can I do that? Like I'm going to keep spending $1,000 to make $7,000. Yes, I'm going to keep doing that. Like how much can I do that? How fast can I do that? How much, does that make sense?
Right. Okay. Well, Victor, thank you so much for spending some time with us. Again, be sure and subscribe to this channel. Victor also has a YouTube channel called Victor Vento, but also tell us where you can find us on Facebook, where you're everywhere.
Right. Yeah. Like I'm everywhere. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, like wherever floats your boat, find me there. Just search Victor R Vento. And I'm the guy with the smile, so feel free to.
You have a great smile.
But let's connect on Facebook. Reach out. Send me any questions. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I have no problem answering them. Now, before I forget, if you do want the bundle that has like the ads worksheet to creating social engaging posts, to map out your content, and to create the perfect client magnet, go over to bentobot.com/bundle. And grab them for free. Use the one that's most fitting for you right now.
That's a generous gift. So thank you for offering that to my viewers. I think it's super helpful to walk through each of those steps. That's going to be a tremendous help to all of us. So thank you again for spending some time with us and teaching us a fraction of everything that you know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will be in touch.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. And I hope everyone, if nothing else, just remember the milk and cookie analogy, so that's how you look at things when you're looking to market yourself.
Right. Good tips. Thank you so much for all of your advice. Have a great day.
You as well. Bye.
Bye.